Welcome to my channel, Job Test USA. This video prepares you for the Postal 475 exam. Most of the jobs the 475 476 fill are quite similar as well. They both fill jobs that handle, sort, and process mail inside postal facilities, jobs that do not include contact with customers. But there is enough difference between these job categories that the Postal Service calls the exam by different names when it is used to fill different jobs. Postal Exam 475, also called Virtual Entry Assessment MH475, and the Mail Handler Ware Exam, is the newly launched test used to fill mail handler, assistant mail handler, and casual mail handler positions. Postal Exam 476, also called Virtual Entry Assessment MP476, the Mail Processor Ware Exam, and the Processing Clerk Ware Exam is the newly launched test used to fill Mail Processing Clerk, PSE Mail Processing Clerk, and Casual Mail Processing Clerk positions. It is also used to fill less common jobs known as Data Conversion Operator, PSE Data Conversion Operator, and Casual Data Conversion Operator. After applying for one of these jobs, you are sent an email with instructions and a link for taking the test. You must complete the exam within 72 hours of applying. If you do not complete the exam within 72 hours, your application is deleted. If you do not complete the exam within 72 hours, you can apply for other jobs that become available, but you will not be considered for the original job you applied for. These are self-administered exams that last about 45 minutes. You take them on your own at home or wherever you choose. You do not have to travel to a supervised testing site to take them. You can use a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone to take these exams. At the beginning of the test, you must select which of these devices you will be using. You are encouraged to complete an exam in one sitting, but you can exit the exam and return to finish it later if so desired. Your answers are saved up to the point you left the exam, and you are able to pick it up and start again where you left it. But as previously mentioned, whether you finish the test in one sitting or leave it and come back to finish it later, you still must complete the exam within 72 hours of applying. These tests are formatted as a slideshows with audio narration. All information, instructions, and questions are given both verbally and in writing as you progress from screen to screen. Your score is available immediately upon completion of the exam. To see your score, log into your e-career candidate profile on the Postal Service website. Your score can be found under the Assessments tab. The highest possible score is 100, and the passing score is 70. Military veterans entitled to preference points may be able to score slightly higher than 100. If you fail or score below 70, rather than being given a numerical score, you are simply ranked as ineligible. The Postal Service will release no info about the scoring formula for this exam, and it is not possible to find out why you made a certain score. It is imperative that you achieve the highest possible score due to the postal interview policy. This policy states that only the top 3 scoring applicants are invited for an interview. You must have one of the top 3 scores for any chance whatsoever. And you absolutely must make the highest possible score right now when you have the chance, because, whether you pass or fail, you will not be able to take the same exam again for 12 months. If you blow it now by failing or by not getting a high enough score, you are out of luck for a whole year. You can apply for jobs filled from different tests during that 1-year period, but you will not be able to apply for jobs filled from the same exam. Why preparation for this exam is so essential? There are various types of test preparation needed for different kinds of exams. Preparation for these exams is critical so that you know exactly what to expect, and so that you will not be blown away by the bizarre questions and the odd way they are to be answered. Out of the 122 questions on these exams, 110 of them, 90% of all the questions, fit this bizarre description. Only 12 questions are purely objective where there are definitive right and wrong answers. It is not unusual for applicants to fail because they never really understand the questions or how to answer them. What is so strange about the questions and answers on these exams? The questions are all multiple choice where you are to select an answer that best fits you, your probable response to a work situation, your experience, your preferred approach to work, your personality, etc. The questions are mostly theoretical or hypothetical in nature and can often be misunderstood or not understood at all. Any or all of the answer choices can seem reasonable depending upon your particular personality and experience, and there is never one obvious answer that stands out as the best choice. In fact, different answers can be the correct choice for different people and offer different jobs. In one exam section, you are to select two answers: the action you would be most likely to take and the action you would be least likely to take in response to a given situation. In another section, each question consists of two descriptions that may be quite similar or radically different. You are to choose which description is more like you and then choose to what degree it is like you. And to score poorly. Test-taking anxiety can only be overcome by becoming familiar and comfortable with exam content. That is especially true on a strange exam like this one. That is one of the reasons we give you such detailed exam information and such realistic practice test questions. By the time you complete this guide, you will know exactly what to expect, and you will feel cool, calm, and confident when taking these exams. You may expect a test prep guide to tell you what answers to choose, but that is simply not possible on tests like this. Applicants sometimes try to choose answers that they think would make them look good to the Postal Service rather than answers that reflect their true personality, preferences, etc. Some of these applicants get away with it and even get a job, but many who try it fail. Answering questions in this fashion is known as test manipulation. We cannot in good conscience suggest that you manipulate these tests by trying to select answers you think they prefer. There are built-in traps and indicators within the questions specifically designed to expose manipulation attempts. The software that scores the exams is programmed to look for indications of manipulation and to deduct substantial points from your score for each manipulation attempt indicated. Both ethically and practically, your best and only course is to answer honestly and sincerely. Attempts to manipulate the exams may end up being the fastest route to failure. Exam content: these exams consist of an introduction and 4 sections. The introduction, which lasts about 5 minutes, gives you a brief bit of Postal Service history and a description of the jobs filled from this exam. Following are a description, instructions, and a sample question for each exam section. Work Scenarios section. This section is called Work Scenarios on exams 474, 475, and 476, but it is called Work Situations on exam 477. This section usually takes about 11 minutes to finish. The instructions encourage you to work quickly, but it is not timed, so you can take as much time as you need. This section has 9 questions, each of which describes a situation that you might encounter on the job. The questions are presented one per screen. As you move from one question to the next, you are taken from one screen to another. The 4 answer choices are potential actions that you could take in response to the situation described. You are to select 2 answer choices: the action you would be most likely to take and the action you would be least likely to take. Select your answers by marking one answer choice on the left for the action you would be most likely to take and one answer choice on the right for the action you would be least likely to take. As discussed above, there are typically no obvious best answers for most likely or for least likely. All the answer choices may seem reasonable. You must simply choose the most and least likely actions that you personally would take. Once you have made answer choices by clicking your most and least likely actions, a Next button appears at the bottom right corner of the screen. Clicking this button takes you to the next question. But do not click the Next button until you are really ready to move on, because you cannot return to the previous question once you click the Next button. Below is a sample work scenarios question. Most people will find that all of the answer choices for this sample question seem reasonable. There are no obvious correct answers. You must nonetheless choose which you would be most and least likely to do in the situation described. This is the only purely objective section on exams 475 and 476 where there are definitive right and wrong answers. In this section, your answer is correct or it is incorrect. There is nothing in between. The check for errors section consists of 12 questions presented 4 per screen for a total of 3 screens. When you finish the 4 questions on one screen, you click the next button to move on to the. This section usually takes about 2 minutes to complete. The instructions encourage you to work quickly, but it is not timed, so you can take as much time as you need. Each question is a pair of 8-digit numbers that you are to compare to see if they are exactly alike or have any differences whatsoever. If they are alike, you click Match as your answer. If they are different, you click Error for your answer. The below sample screen containing 4 questions illustrates the questions and how you are to answer. Tell us your story section. The Tell us your story section consists of 22 questions about your work experience and background. The questions are presented one per screen. As you move from one question to the next, you are taken from one screen to another. For each question in this section, you only select one answer choice by clicking it. This section usually takes about 3 minutes to complete. As with the previous section, the instructions encourage you to work quickly, but it is not timed, so you can take as much time as you need. Immediately upon clicking an answer to a question, you will be automatically taken to the next question. You can go back one question, but only one question, at any time if you need to double check your previous answer. Below is a sample Tell us your story question. Describe your approach section. The Describe your approach section consists of 79 questions about numerous topics such as your preferred approach to work, your personality, how you relate to other people, especially co-workers and supervisors, how you handle stress, etc. The questions are presented one per screen. As you move from one question to the next, you are taken from one screen to another. You only select one answer choice for each question, but this is another case of bizarre questions and odd answer choices. This section usually takes around 8 minutes to complete. Below is a sample Describe your approach question. It will be much easier to describe the questions and how to answer while you are looking at the sample question. Complete practice exam. Following is a complete practice exam. How realistic are the questions? They are actual questions from the real test paraphrased, so they will not be in violation of copyright law. However, you may or may not see these specific questions when taking your exam. There are a number of versions of the exam, and the different versions have different questions. It may be that only a few questions are different, or all the questions may be different. Or you may see the same questions but presented in a different order. If you happen to take the same version that these practice test questions came from, you will see these same questions in the same order but in their original wording. Regardless of what questions you see, the actual exam will be formatted exactly like this practice test. As explained earlier, the Postal Service will not release any information about how this test is scored, so it is not possible to score this practice exam. And except for the few check for errors questions, there are no definitive right or wrong answers, so it is not possible to provide an overall answer key. When taking both the practice exam and the actual test, you are to answer the questions honestly and sincerely, so answers that may be right for you, that accurately describe you, may be wrong for another applicant. The purpose of the practice exam is therefore not to score you or to judge the accuracy of your answers, because such is simply not possible. The purpose is to assure that you know exactly what to expect when taking the real test, that you are not blown away by the bizarre questions, that you do not suffer from test anxiety, and that you are prepared to achieve your highest possible score. The practice exam is broken down into its various sections. You will take it one section at a time. You can take all sections in a single sitting or take them individually as preferred. You have unlimited access and can return to the practice test as many times as you like. Work scenarios practice test. You are to select 2 answer choices for each of these 8 questions. The action you would be most likely to take and the action you would be least likely to take, in response to the described situation. This section usually takes about 7 minutes to finish. You are encouraged to work quickly, but this section is not timed, so you can take as long as you need. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe my channel to get next exam test video.